All right, welcome to episode 174 of the Narcissistic Music Disorder.
Good morning, Scotty. How are you, buddy?
I am good. I am good.
So, what's new? What you listening to? What's exciting?
Been listening to a lot of the Menzingers,
I know you've been hot on them.
and
I know.
then our friend Denny Smith from The Great Affairs must have heard the episode where I talked about them, and he said, check out this band's Spanish love songs if you like the Menzingers. So
Huh.
I've been hooked on those guys. Thanks, Denny.
Spanish. The band is called Spanish Love Songs.
Yeah, they're like pop punky indie,
That is some NMD shit.
catchy riffs, super cool.
That's really NMD-ish. Like even that band name is NM. That's the one
Oh,
that when you
yeah,
show up at the party and someone goes, "Hey man, I really like Foghat," you go, "Oh dude,
yeah,
you got to be checking out these guys, man."
yeah. So a lot of
Uh,
that.
cool. Well, I think I said before we got fired up here, I've been rocking. I've been listening a lot of Chuck Berry lately because that's kind of the first rock music I really loved were Chuck Berry songs. So I've been going back and listening to those. And I think it was kickstarted because my 18-year-old, my son, shared a video that was like, I don't know what they call a parody, I guess, but it's just, supposed to be Chuck Berry in the studio, and the guy's like, "Hey man, kick off, Oh Carol," and he does the kickoff riff, but no, Chuck, that was the intro you used for Johnny Be Good. We need to do, yeah, it's because I mean, Chuck Berry is a pioneer of the game, but we must all admit, right, that a couple of those songs, if you were like backing him or something, you'd be like, oh, and he didn't tell you, you'd be like, shit, are we doing
Yeah,
Carol? Is this Johnny Be Good? Is this Little
yeah.
Queenie or
Which
whatever?
one
Or
is? Yeah.
which one is it? Yeah. So, and then I did share with my son the whole because he's never seen Hail Hail Rock and Roll.
Oh,
The
wow.
the great because that's the way Chuck Berry sets his amp. If it sounds like that, that's the way Chuck Berry wants it. I got to start talking about myself in third person like that.
Like The Rock. Yeah.
Like the rock, right? It doesn't translate well for me. Although I'm gonna work it. I'll work on it today. I'll just try that throughout the day. So tell us what we got going on today, Scott, please.
Today is a special day. We have Georg Dolivo from the band Rhino Bucket joining
Oh,
us.
thank you so
Frontman,
much.
guitarist from Helsinki, Finland.
Oh
Yes.
yes, yes,
Now
yes.
lives, you live in LA now? Van
Yeah.
Nuys?
No longer in Van Nuys, but in
No
the
longer.
valley.
Okay. So I got to tell you this, George. So when I was 12 years old, my dad got me into this band called Hanoi Rocks. And
Right.
he introduced me to the first Hanoi Rocks record. So when I was 19, I discovered Rhino Bucket. I've told this story on the podcast. I remember where I was the first time heard the song Hey There. I was driving down a
Oh,
highway in Grand Rapids. I immediately pulled off and went to a record store and bought Get Used to It. And then I found out about the self-titled record later, so I went and got that. But I've been a fan of yours for 24 years. So
Wow.
this is 19-year-old me is shitting purple Twinkies right now, but this is an honor for me because I have all of your records. I mean, you have got to play with just a who's who of. I mean, Greg Fields. Well, at the time, Greg Feidelman now, um, Simon Wright, Reeve Downs, Brian
Brian
Forsyth.
Forsyth.
My God, you have got to play, and the songs you wrote on those first three records, man, bangers. From
Yeah, then it
self-titled to Get Used to It to Pain. Wow.
yeah, thanks. Yeah. Then it all went downhill.
I'm sure it's not that case at all.
No,
But
no.
I
No, I
have,
mean, there's if you only know songs like Hey There, and I mean, you're missing out on tracks like Blow by Blow and just Bird on a Wire. Those kind of tracks are awesome. Just
Thanks.
yeah.
so I too have a Rhino Bucket story. I played in a band, I was probably, I don't know, I was 17 or 18, and the singer, older guy, he'd been in bands, like, gigged out, all that kind of stuff. And he was the first guy. You got to remember too, that would have been like in the late 80s where oddly enough, like even there was a distance, there was almost becoming a divide between like my buddy there was he was a big AC/DC Bon Scott guy, but there were people who didn't like that era of AC/DC at all. They were Brian Johnson people. They came in after Back
Yeah.
in Black or whatever. So, it was, and again, it was the late 80s, so there was either really super polished, poofy hair rock and roll, which I liked. I'm not trying to act like I was so cool. I didn't like that shit. But there was also like good, classic, beefy rock and roll. And we were into that too. Like I was a kid, but I still liked stuff like the Faces and the Stones and all that. And I'll never forget the rehearsal. They went, dude, you got to check this out. And it was Rhino Bucket. And he's such a huge fan. And I said, hey, Bob, we're having George on the show. He told me to tell you he has a 40 Ford Coupe named Rhino Bucket. He's just, again, he turned me on to it all those years ago. And it's the good news about that kind of music. And I'm certainly not trying to blow sunshine, but out of the music of all those eras, that music survived because it was timeless.
Yes.
It had, I mean, it sounds good today. It sounded good then.
Right.
It didn't have all those things that, and I don't know how Rhino Bucket managed, other than you must have had, well, obviously some artistic integrity where someone didn't go, hey man, we got to really wash this thing out and reverb, or yeah, that guitar tone,
Right.
I wish that had some chorus on it or whatever.
Yeah.
Those albums just sound as good today as they did then. And kudos to you, because a lot of your contemporaries, as I'm sure you're aware, didn't didn't get to manage that well because of some choices they made back then.
Right.
So
I mean, like a lot of that had to do with we made, well, we wrote songs that were, we used to say three chords in a cloud of dust,
yeah, killed.
and none of us liked, and still don't. I mean, we have a new lineup now with Harry Cody and Joe E from Harry's from Shaka Messiah,
I
and
was gonna say, yeah, cool.
and Joey is from Circus of Power.
Oh
Oh
David,
yeah.
yeah.
David's still there. David has been with us, I think, 14, 15 years.
Wow.
He was in Warrior, which oddly enough, so was our original drummer. So
Okay.
we're kind of cannibalistic. But one of the smartest things we did was we picked the right producers,
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
know. So we never had that guy come in, like that skit. It's like, I need more cowbell. It was just like,
Right.
we're gonna bury this in a sea of reverb. The
Right.
first album was engineered by Brendan O'Brien, who ended up
Oh
working
yeah.
with everyone.
Yep.
Has
And
his name's come up on the show for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
and a super talented guy.
Hmm.
And the second album was produced by Terry Manning, who did Zeppelin
Oh,
2,
yep.
and recently passed away, unfortunately. But so both of them got it.
Yeah.
They understood that. And I remember when the first one came out, I had a friend of mine who was he was an engineer, and he was like, "You guys don't sound current." And I
Thank
go,
you.
right, and I was just like, "Talk to me again in 10 years. Let me know
Yeah.
what you think then."
Yep.
'Cause that was like Brendan's argument to us, like, "Hey, we're gonna make something that sounds honest and real, and it's gonna
Yeah.
stand the test of time,
Yep.
as opposed to something that, and we don't do ballads.
Nope.
Yeah.
We never did. We never will. I mean, we got close with some blues songs, feeling king things, but never, I
Never
don't
the
love it.
tiny verse, big chorus, tiny
I
verse.
can't,
Yeah.
I've never loved anyone, so I can't sing about loving and, like faithfully. I can sing about loving unfaithfully.
One
Um,
one one night stand might be the closest thing they have to a ballad.
I think that
yeah,
says everything we need to know.
at least lyrically, yeah.
Well, what we're gonna do, Scott, what's the layout of today's show? What are we doing here?
We're picking 5 rock albums that you often recommend or that you just that you love.
Okay, I'm into that. I screwed up the task, but again, I feel like in my heart I can come up with 5 rock and roll albums that mean a
Oh
lot to
yeah.
me, for sure. And
John, I sent George the song Bastards of the Bowery that has Mark Knight
Mark
playing on it.
Knight, yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
Brian Forsyth played on Ghost of Sunset too. So,
yeah.
but for that, I'm a huge Brian fan for a number of reasons. Again, Kix has that same kind of thing. Although they did have the ballads, it was that, I think it was a
No,
tone thing.
they were a good band.
It
Yeah,
was a
Great
absolutely.
tonal
band,
thing,
yeah.
you know what I mean? They didn't sound super dated because they made those choices to, like you said, George, to be real and be themselves. And
Right.
we've talked on the show before too about the fact that you can almost like, this is deep nerdery, but you can almost chart like what effects unit came out when, because it's like all of a sudden every record, it's like every, you know, producer went, oh my God, there's this new Eventide thing that we're gonna put on
Right.
everything. It's gonna be on the drums, it'll be on the vocals,
Right.
you know, and bands like yours and like Kicks and those bands that really have kind of stood that test of time were just creating those classic tones and sounds and songs and song structure. And like you said, three chords and a cloud of dust.
Mhm.
That I've been listening to Chuck Berry, which is three chords and a cloud of dust.
Oh yeah.
And it goes on. And I think that's why bands like Rhino Bucket didn't fall to that, where, you know, it just seems so, you're either so fully involved in the nostalgia that you know, it's that, or it's completely irrelevant, and you guys have transcended that because of the choices you made. So thank you for making rock and roll records so people like us can come up
Hell
with rock and
yes.
roll records to share. So let's let's get started off with George. What's the first rock and roll record you picked?
Let's see. Well, picked and picked. I didn't really do any prep.
Sure.
But
Good.
that's how I roll. Um, yeah. When Brian was still in the band, him and I pretty much were in this one camp, and the rhythm section was always in another camp.
Okay.
As far as they well, it doesn't matter what they liked. They're they hit shit with sticks. Um, I'm kidding, kidding. But Brian and I always gravitated towards "Let There Be Rock"
Ah,
Yeah.
because that was
dude.
just it's. There are moments there where it's like you kind of start laughing because you're like, anyone realize that rhythm guitar's out of tune?
Oh yeah.
They, but they didn't care because they captured the performance, and I like that because I think that it puts a humanity to it. But that was like the like I run profiling amps now, and I profiled a bunch of stuff from that album
Oh
for
wow,
for
cool.
my rhythm guitar. And then Harry, I don't know what Harry likes, but he does a great job with Rhino Bucket, So, I mean,
He
just a little sidebar. Everyone was worried when he came into the band to replace Brian. Just like, oh, come on, you guys going mental or whatever. But,
right.
but what people don't realize is that 90% of the metal guitar players started off as rock and roll players.
Of
Yeah.
course. Yeah, of course.
And then they transitioned to something that like caught their fancy. And
Mm-hmm.
90% of the rock and roll players that stayed rock and roll players cannot play metal to save their lives.
Right. For sure.
So it's worked out. But Let There Be Rock, definitely every track.
Ugh.
The first time I heard it, I was like, you, uh, there's kind of a funny story, and that I've heard a bunch of times that they were going to get dropped.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because I think they were on Atlantic or Atco at the time,
Hmm.
and they were like, the record company just didn't see the return. So they said like, okay, well, we'll make an album, and I think they gave them like 15 grand to make the album, which wasn't that bad back then, but it wasn't that
Yeah.
great. But they had their own studios because their, uncle was in Easy Beats and in Australia.
Yeah.
So you would think that a band in that position would look at the charts and go like, we got to do something to get on that chart. Instead, if you listen to Let There Be Rock, it's pretty much as close to commercial suicide as you can do.
Exactly. It's the opposite direction of
Right, and I
yeah.
loved it. I loved it, and like so that's my first and number one. Like I'm gonna stick to more rock and roll, like
Yeah.
hard
Yeah.
rock albums because I mean I love the Beatles and Stones, but there's
Me
no
too.
reason to talk about them.
Amen.
Right.
Amen. Amen.
So
Scott, what's your first rock and roll pick?
It is Into the Black by Richie Kotzen.
Well, there you go. You talk about, like George was just saying, those rock players versus like the metal players versus a guy like Richie Kotzen who has kind of
The
all that
blues,
shit
yeah,
in
yeah,
his
all,
toolbox. Yeah.
yeah,
Wow. Yeah, I like
multi.
Richie Kotzen a lot. And I'm not I've said on this show many times, I'm not a quote unquote shred type guy. That's not my ride. I'm almost too dumb for it. Like I need that rock and roll kind of, it's got to be simple for me to hang in there. But I do like Kotzen. I like the soulfulness of him. I like that he does, he touches on, you can hear Motown stuff, you can hear that
Yeah.
Yeah,
early Beatles stuff we were talking about, he's got that feel too. Yeah,
yep.
he's a great player.
That record's from '06. I mean, if you're a fan of Chris Cornell too, this record is he's very
Kotzen can sing too. That's the other big thing.
he channels a sort of Chris Cornell vibe too on this record.
He can sing for sure. That's a
Oh
big thing.
man, yeah.
You don't get a lot of that. Yeah. My first pick is and I must talk about this album constantly because people are always, first of all, everyone knows I love this artist so much, and number two, it's just not the it's kind of not forgotten, but Long After Dark by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers is buried in their
Oh yeah.
catalog, kind of, where Damn the Torpedoes, of course, is the breakthrough, right?
Yeah.
The big breakthrough. But for me, at my age, the cusp of MTV, when MTV didn't have a ton of videos to play, you'd catch the same ones, you
You
know,
got lucky,
those
right?
you got lucky.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, like, even back then, this band must be, and of course, everybody knew Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers from Breakdown and American Girl and blah 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 and all, even the Losers. Well, that was on Damn the Torpedoes, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But when You Got Lucky came out, I remember the video had a setup, right? Remember they were in the desert and it was very Blade Runner-ish, and they found, I
Yeah.
don't know what the fuck they did. All I remember is Mike Campbell had that cop hat on and he looked cool as shit.
Oh, Mike Campbell, amazing guitar player.
Yeah.
Amazing. And what an amazing band. And
Yeah.
then there was stuff on there like Straight Into Darkness and
Yeah. Great song.
a tune my cover band played last night. I thought, I didn't know if it would go over, but it's Change of Heart. Remember that tune?
Oh
They had a
yeah.
video for it. And yeah, I just Mike Campbell is the great. There you go again. We're talking about, there must be something wired in rock and roll where those classic tones and sounds, they just keep you don't ever sound dated if you kind of go, hey man, we're not gonna, whatever the flavor of the day is, we're not using that. Right? We're gonna
Yeah.
use
Right.
this stuff that is immediate and all those great
And
heartbreakers tones.
there's usually some sort of duo in every band that makes the vibe. Like the duo of Rhino Bucket was Reeve and George. In my opinion, that was it. And like, Gene and Paul and Joe and
Right. Joe and
Pete.
Steven. And yeah, and I think there's something in rock and roll too. We're kind of rock and roll conditioned us, especially early on, not so much Beatles, but it seemed like, when we started getting to like Keith and Mick, when Brian wasn't in the Stones anymore and Keith and
Yeah.
Mick it's those duos we're looking for all the time, your Robert Plant and Jimmy Page, or, just I'm like you. I like a rock and roll, duo. Even though in the Heartbreakers, I love Mike Campbell. Like George said, is I mean he's a measuring stick. But to me, the hero of the Heartbreakers was Stan Lynch, the drummer.
Yeah.
I mean
Yeah.
those early Heartbreakers records. God, and you could say the same thing about Phil Rudd. Like yeah, but there's a part in just to get back to George, I'm sorry, I should have told you we're going to take some side streets, but I promise
Oh no,
we won't
I'm
get
down.
too lost in the weeds. But you were talking about Let There Be Rock, and there's a part in the song Let There Be Rock, where it's like where he's rattling, let there be sound, let there be lights, and he says let there be drums. And I'm telling you, if nobody had heard that song and you played it for a million drummers, right? As soon as they said let there be drums, they would come off that groove and do something, right?
Yep.
Like and there were drums, right? And
Right.
and there's no movement. That groove just
No,
keeps.
I got a funny story about that. because Simon was in AC/DC for a long time.
Right, right. My buddy
So,
asked actually was like, "Oh, ask about." I'm like, I'm not asking about Simon, right, or
oh,
AC/DC, but here we are.
Simon and I are really good friends still.
Oh, good.
Um, yeah. So I guess this is like the crew told Simon. Like there was one day they were all set up. They had kind of like run through the line checks and all that. And so Phil's drum tech said like, "Hey, you mind if I get behind the kit?" And Phil's like, typical Phil's like, "I don't give a shit." So he goes on there and he starts playing all this kind of like, just hitting every drum, doing triplets and this and that and he was good apparently,
Sure.
and so he does that and he goes and he goes, to Phil, he goes like, well, what do you think? And Phil apparently said like, yeah, that's good, but this is all you need. Got behind the drums and just did a groove.
Yeah, the groove, right?
The
Yeah,
groove.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 exactly. So it's like, you know, have your message and do it well.
Amen. Yes, and there's something about because I let the song, the title track, "Let There Be Rock" is like one of my favorite AC/DC songs of all time. It's tied to my childhood. It's
Yeah.
But you talk about that out of tune guitar. Malcolm is definitely slightly out of tune on that when they kick into the
Yep.
there's a little wavering and
Yeah,
you know
that could also be adrenaline because like they tried to capture like as close to possible their live shows, which is really hard to do. Especially
yes.
even and whenever I say this, people go like, "Well, buy the live album." Oh, you mean the
Yeah,
one that they got remixed at the Hit Factory in New York 2 months after the
right,
performance?
right,
They kept
right.
the drums in the crowd. And
Yeah,
I'm not talking
yes.
about AC/DC. I'm talking about in general.
In
Most
general, yeah.
yeah,
And they triple track the crowd.
right,
Yeah,
exactly.
right,
So,
right.
so
All
yeah,
right.
no.
All right. So I think we're on you, right, George? What's your next rock and roll album you can tell us about?
I can't remember the name,
Mm.
but I know the band. It's the Cult when they went away from being mysterious to that straight ahead rock album.
It's probably
Electric.
Electric.
Electric, yeah.
Yeah.
That was like just a breath of fresh air.
Oh,
It was just like, oh, I remember Greg and I, for some reason, I went to Finland for a year to be an idiot. Um, and he sent me this cassette through the mail, and I
oh
put
yeah.
it in, and I went like, oh, I got to
Oh,
get back. We got to do something like this. That
yeah.
album was amazing. It's like
Yeah.
there's a certain, again, one that's timeless. Like the previous album, which was a little bit more not as timeless, but still great songs.
Yeah.
But that Electric was like it's timeless. It still is. And there's something about the confidence that Billy Duffy has and when he plays. It's like he's just there's no hesitation. There's no it's just like it's right there. And Ian Atbury is a great singer.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So
Yeah.
that would be number two for me,
Oh,
Nice.
definitely,
man.
because it really moved me.
Oh, me too. Me too. And I feel like it was Electric and stop me, Scott, if I'm wrong, but that's got like Little Devil on it
Yep.
Yeah.
and
Yep.
Yep.
Love Removal Machine.
Yep. Which is a
Yep.
great song.
Wildflower might be on it too.
Wildflower. Yep.
Yeah.
The
And
cover of Steppenwolf.
yeah, which is cool too. Which
Is
is
that Bob Rock? Or was Bob Rock the
I think he
next
came in on
one?
Sonic Temple, the
Sonic
big one.
Temple. Yeah.
I think, don't quote me on that.
Because wasn't Love previous to Electric?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think Love had that tune, Rain on it.
Rain. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great
Which
But
stuff.
which
Billy
one had
Duff,
She Sells Sanctuary?
Yes. That's a great song.
is that, I think that might be on,
That's on Electric, I think.
is it?
It might be on Love
Yeah. It
It
could be
might be.
before, like, because the
because
single off Electric was Love Removal Machine, I think.
right. And if you
Yes.
listen to the guitars, it's not stripped down.
Right. They're real
There's like there's
chorusy or what.
tape delays going on there and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Great song, one of my favorite songs. But
Yeah. God, Billy Duffy, too.
Oh,
Billy
yeah,
Duffy, man.
so cool.
I mean, I have like a kind of a shitty version, but this big black hollow body Gretsch, and you know who you're pretending to be, right?
yeah.
I could wear it really high and be George Harrison, but I wear it really low, so I look like Billy Duffy, man, because he's just so fucking cool looking. And what a great, there you go again, timeless guitar sounds, right? Even
Yeah.
his when they were like, I think they called that movement back then like the New Romantics. Remember, they were all
Yes.
kind of
Yep.
Yeah.
very piratey.
Yeah. Puffy
Yes.
shirts and
Yeah,
yeah.
right. And
Adamant.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, they look like that. And with his that, like you said, that delayed chorusy, vibey guitar, it still sounds like Billy Duffy. I mean, that
Oh
guitar
yeah.
tone is Billy. You know, the Cure kind of had some of that, but no, the Cult are. And then they, I still don't know why they didn't get. I mean, they had the hits, right? They had Firewoman and
Yep.
Soul Sister, Sweet Soul Sister, I think it was called.
Yep.
Maybe does that sound
Sweet
right,
soul.
Scott?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
and they did the big Metallica tour, right? They opened
Oh
that
yeah.
that Metallica tour, but they just never. They were one of those bands I think that was almost too good for super popular consumption. They were too good for that. They couldn't dumb it down enough for the masses, I
There
think.
are so many factors that go into that. Record
Yeah.
label
Yeah.
support, the right management, the right agent for the touring, and all that kind of stuff. So
Well,
you are just walking on thin ice, and some people make
yeah.
it across the pond, like Metallica and Aerosmith
Right.
and all that.
Right.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah.
Some people never
So
get onto the pond. You know what I
that's
mean? I
true.
mean, that's the thing.
They're
I
sitting on the
mean,
shore going, "I'm scared."
yeah, right. Right. Oh yeah. I'm at the shore with life jackets in case my favorite bands don't make it. Let's see. My pick, my next one, and
I
I'm
got
on. Oh,
mine's up.
you're next, aren't you? All right,
Yeah.
go ahead, Scott. That'll give me time to think.
Wings of Steel. The record is called Winds of Time. It's from 2025.
Huh.
They're from LA. They if you like early Queensryche, Iron Maiden, Dio, Riot, Crimson Glory, it's two badass guitar players, a singer that's just can hit highs and hit everything. These guys, they have two records out and an EP. I celebrate their entire catalog. They are fucking phenomenal.
Hmm. I've never heard of them.
Oh my God. If you're into proggy metal
And
and
I'm out.
not proggy, sorry, not proggy.
You
If
and me
you're
both,
into
John.
if you're into Queensryche, Dio, that
Okay.
Riot,
Okay. I can
um
get with some of that.
no prog.
I
No,
was
these
thinking,
guys
you were getting real Steely Dan on me there,
no.
Scott.
These guys blaze, man. It's killer lyrics. It sounds like it's goes you go back in time when you listen to these guys.
All right. I'm
They
in.
are so badass. I mean, with your Maiden, there's definitely
Yep, I do love
Maiden
Maiden.
influence.
Yep.
So,
Which is probably right. I mean, if I because I'm always, as the world knows, anyone who knows me, I'm rock and roll kind of, that's my thing. But like I do like Iron Maiden, and that's probably proggy, right? I mean,
that's a
Christ, there's
little bit. There's a
yeah,
little bit in there.
yeah,
Yeah.
they were really into that. Well, this next album I'm gonna mention is not very, doesn't have much prog to it.
Ooh,
Um, but it was called Nobody Said It Was Easy by
by
the
the
Four
Four Horsemen.
Horsemen.
God.
Oh, that's a good album.
They were a kick-ass band too. They were
Yeah.
and another one of those timeless bands I still put on. I still listen to that album. I still listen to the big singles on it. I listen to the whole record. It's still good. The tones are kick-ass. I don't know much about what happened to that band. I know there's been some death, right? The singer has passed. Frank, I think, is gone.
Frankie died. Yeah, I saw those guys with Junkyard opening.
Junkyard's a great
Uh,
rock and roll band too.
yeah.
The
And
great
Yeah.
rock and roll
they
band.
recently lost Dave.
Yeah.
David, yeah.
Yep. And Tim Mosier played on Ghost of Sunset's record too.
Oh, nice.
So but the Four Horsemen, you know what? Here you go. The Four Horsemen came kind of in my life at a time where, again, I'm not pretending I didn't listen to poofy glammed up hair metal. I love that shit. There's no doubt about it. Um, it hit about me around the same time this band called Rhino Bucket. My buddy introduced me to Rhino Bucket. It was like
Yeah.
finally there was still these beefy, bluesy, kick-ass, good tone, nothing dated. And I would say the Four Horsemen had that too. There, you could put their
Oh,
record
yeah.
on right now and not go, "Oh
I
my God, it's totally decked out in chorused acoustics or something." You know, it's
No.
I
Yeah.
gotta say that we all have our Spinal Tap moments, and like being in a band called Rhino Bucket, we take the prize. But
Which is a great name, by the way, I think.
I always thought it was Spinal Tapish in a good way because it just made me chuckle every time that they're called the Four Horsemen, but there's five of them.
Right, right, right. As if someone sat in a room and Nigel went, but there's five of us.
I know exactly. Are we gonna do Stonehenge tomorrow?
Exactly. Someone's out of the band, man.
Oh,
Oh shit. Yeah, so that was mine. Four Horsemen. What do you got
nice.
next, George?
I seem to be gravitating towards songs that or songs, albums that are older but that like really shaped me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, the
Yeah.
ones that like you heard it the first time and then you just shut the door to, living at home, shut the door to your room,
Yeah.
blasted that fucker and listened to it for like 12 hours straight. And the
Mm.
next one would be Queen, News of the World.
Oh.
Oh man.
That one got me. You
Oh,
know,
Queen.
I know I was, I liked Queen. I liked their first two albums. It was a little proggy, little
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah. Little orchestrated.
And then later they got a little poppy because they had mansion payments. Um, but
Oh, I'm writing mansion payments down.
yeah, News of the World, like sheer heart attack,
Oh,
and obviously, the We Will Rock You, We Are the Champions,
sure.
Yeah.
and all that. And there's some great songs on that album. And talk about a guitar player who has a sound, Brian
Oh,
May. You
oh,
hear
Yeah.
you hear him play, immediately. That's one thing that I'm kind of missing with a lot of the new bands. Is like you don't. It might have to do with the recording process now because it's also digitized. But back then you knew that Brian May was playing a guitar,
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
or Malcolm, or
Yep.
Rory Gallagher, or Eric Clapton. There's so Eddie Van Halen. Please,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
yeah, which
And,
is coming up on my list.
well, and I think some of that too, like you said, recording, the recording process now, and I mean, God, this is gonna sound curmudgeon and old as shit, but before a guitar player would be in the studio dialing, right? Dialing an amp up or changing amps, or certainly the
Yeah,
bigger recording budgets would be a cartage truck full of amps, and a guy
right,
would. And the record label had a budget to let you spend 2 weeks sorting through, JCM 800 heads to find the right one.
right,
Mhm.
Where now I think number one, nobody's got time for that. And number two, you go to, your fractal and you go click, 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 click. Oh, yep, there's JCM 800. And it's already got a bass tone of whatever it
right.
might be based on like, doing that profiling. It
Right.
just makes sense now. You profile.
If you do it right, I have this great guy. I'm in Burbank. I'm actually in North Hollywood, so I'm in the valley.
Okay.
I love it here. I mean, it's so ghetto, and everyone leaves me alone.
Yeah,
It's
perfect.
it's awesome, and the people are great. So, anyways, but I got this guy in Burbank, Danny Hetcher, who does profiling for my
Okay.
camper,
Oh, wow.
and like he got it immediately. He was like, "Yeah, you could do like you have 152 rigs in this," but I go like, "I don't want 152 rigs.
I want my
I
amp.
I want it to sound this way on all my guitars because I play rhythm.
Yeah.
So
Which is important in Rhino Bucket.
oh
That's
yeah,
the
Yeah.
yeah,
but the weird thing is like if you are still running tube amps, which I did forever, when you switch from one to the other and you're in the middle of the gig, you're not really going to have time to dial it in.
of course.
And it's going to change that sound radically. So if you just strip down the profilers, they
Hmm.
sound really good.
I agree.
But if you go like, I want to sound like, Pink Floyd on acid,
Right.
you've lost the plot.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where you find your stripped down amp that sounds kick ass, and it's funny with all those the technology of modeling and profiling and all that stuff. I still catch myself like I get that amp together that I like, and then I just all the effects come in front of it like I'm running a pedal board anyhow. Like I
Right.
plug right into the front because I think chorus sounds different in the front of the amp versus I've never owned an amp really with an effects loop anyhow, but it's just having that, like you said, that consistent. And for someone like you want to hear that every night, right?
Yeah.
You want your tone every night, which
Yeah.
is
Which is
very,
they're all solid state, so you don't have to
yep.
worry about it. My entire rig for fly gigs, touring Europe, or playing in America, either locally or anywhere in America, fits, well, not the cabinet, but fits in a backpack.
Yeah. And it's the Kemper you said is what you're using?
Yeah, I do. Well, Danny does the profiles for me in the lunchbox, and then I have the Kemper Profiler player, which is the size of two distortion pedals.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
And I got a Seymour Duncan power amp and a
Oh,
Shure
yeah.
wireless and a little Peterson mini tube mini tuner because the tuner on the Kemper is crap.
Okay.
I'm allowed to say that. It
Yeah.
sounds good, but they don't know
Yeah.
how to
Yeah.
make tuners.
Right. They haven't profiled the perfect tuner yet.
No, they have not. So I mean, that's it's the consistency that everyone's always looking for.
Yeah. Killer. Rock and that allows you to recreate for us, the fans, that experience of hearing, we do want to hear those guitars the way they sounded, right? Or
Right.
where that's another thing that'll get me too is when you go to hear a band, a band you love, you grew up on, and now things don't quite sound the same. Or I'm trying to think of what I heard recently where they had a keyboard player and they have always had a keyboard player, but the keyboards were up in the mix, so it changed the songs.
Yeah.
They were keyboard driven instead of guitar driven, and that was really weird too. So yeah, perfect. Scott, what's your next pick?
Sammy Hagar, Standing Hampton.
Dude,
Yeah.
I'll take any heat over you, Scott. You know my feelings for Standing Hampton.
Masterpiece.
I'll street fight for that song or for that album because it's so good.
Masterpiece.
And it's a Keith Olsen album too.
It is. Yeah.
So that was probably
81, I think that record came out.
That might have been done at Sound City.
I believe it. I believe it was. Yeah.
It's a great sounding album, dude. And I love Hagar. I don't know. Some people don't.
I think I've never loved anybody's cover really of Piece of My Heart.
Yeah, I would
Irma Franklin is my favorite, the Motown version, but
okay.
I think she was the first one to ever do it. Aretha's sister, but
I feel like Hagar's isn't bad on there though.
It's not bad, no.
It's not great either.
But yeah, the song he did with Pateric from Survivor Heavy Metal, that's
a
awesome.
Great tune.
Just it's such a killer album.
Dude, and I again, that's a great album. Great, I like the guitar tones. A little chorusy at times, but yesterday we did 2 songs off Standing Hampton, and you never know, right? Because I
Fall in Love Again.
Did Fall in Love Again and Baby's on Fire.
Oh, nice.
There's another one, dude. We were talking about, I think before we started here, about like the Chuck Berry and the Sweet Little 16s and all that.
Yep.
It's now imagine you're in front of, people in your hometown and you're saying, no time for friends, no time for rest, straight home from school. She starts to get undressed.
Oh, yeah.
And you're looking and you're going, yeah, that's that
right.
woman who taught my son in junior high. There she is.
Hey, why is my wife leaving?
Exactly. There goes my mortified wife and friends. Yeah. Exactly. Oh, yeah, that's a great pick. So since I'm doing this on the fly, I'm really disappointed in myself because I can't remember the title of this record, and one of you guys might be self-titled, but it's the Circus of Power record that has Motor on it and
Mama Tequila on it.
Nope. That's Magic and Madness. That's kind of it's the one before that, and I think it might have even had Vices on it.
Okay.
And I can't think of the title of it, but. So everybody kind of knows I've talked about him a lot on the show. I'm a big Circus of Power dude.
Our bass player was in Circus of Power.
What a kick-ass band, right?
Yeah.
Al's still kind of out doing things, I think, and I don't know how much with Circus of Power stuff. But boy, when I heard that band, that was another one of those bands. And I feel like I heard Motor, the song Motor. They had a little video for it, and I shouldn't say little video. They had a video for it. What the fuck does that mean? It wasn't as big as Thriller, I'll tell you that. But
it's self-titled.
Is it self-titled?
Yeah, Motor is track 1.
It is
White Trash Queen.
Oh yes.
Heart Attack.
It's just badass, dude.
Backseat Mama's on there. That's a great song.
That was a different band, dude. They were they were definitely a New York band.
New York, yeah.
Like you can hear New York in that for sure. There's a certain mentality that. And obviously New York at this late 80s or 80s heyday of all that shit, obviously the West Coast was the thing, and that's where most of these bands were coming from. But boy, the New York bands seemed to carry a little different vibe. I
Yeah.
Yeah.
don't know if it was because of the exposure to stuff in New York. Out west, I think the music scene was cool, and you had, and I'm a huge fan, of all the stuff from like Laurel Canyon and the early Sunset Strip, the Birds and the Doors
Hmm.
and all that. But then over in New York, it was television and it was the Ramones and it was a little
Lou
dirtier.
Reed.
The
Yeah. The
dictators and
Dictators,
yeah.
yes. Yeah.
Right. Well, I think
So,
a lot of it had to do with the New York thing is that, I mean, LA and Hollywood got oversaturated with venues and bands.
mhm.
So everyone could, we never paid to play because A, we were poor. That pretty much ends the conversation. But so everyone could book a gig anywhere and sell
Right.
tickets. And
Yep.
it wasn't really that difficult at all. But in New
Hmm.
York, there weren't that many venues that were taking in these loud hard rock bands.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
really had to stand out to get attention, much more than you did in LA, I think. So
Yeah.
there's some great bands that have come out of New York
Oh,
because of that.
Hmm.
well, even like and some of that, obviously the Dolls and that even like Twisted Sister, you watch kind of the rise of that band, and that's a lot of slugging it out, dude. That's a
Oh
lot
yeah.
of
Yeah.
club playing, a lot of club playing. And then, well, even seeing other East Coast stuff, Aerosmith and later on bands like Kicks and there's some sort of, and maybe it's because I'm from the Midwest. I bet it is. But there's some sort of working man's mentality to those bands that I really
Yeah.
Yeah.
like, very, very plug in and get the job done. So, all right, George, you got another rock album for us?
Yeah, I'm not being rude with my phone. I'm just because this is on the fly. I'm trying to
No, of
figure out
course.
how to get the titles right here. But until I do that, again, I'm going to sound like I got stuck in a time zone. Um, when I first heard Van Halen 1,
Yeah.
it like, especially in that time, there were some great punk bands,
Sure.
and there were some disco bands that had great musicians.
Yeah.
But there
Amen.
wasn't, and but like the big 70s, early 70s, late 60s, big metal band, the hard rock bands like Deep Purple and all that were kind of fading,
Hmm.
and then Van Halen came on and, I went like, well, I realized two things. This is great, and I'll never play guitar like that.
Yes.
You could
And,
put a
and how
you could
is
put
that being done
you could put
anyhow?
Yeah.
a you could put a gun to my head for 10 years and I'd still be going like,
Right.
can we just end this? I need a nap. So, but that first it's not specifically about the songs, but obviously there were some great songs. There was Eruption on it, which like just
Yeah.
completely blew my mind, and so it was not technically a song, um, but it was just such a fresh and aggressive and virtuoso album that I went
Oh,
like, holy shit,
Yeah.
oh
this is
man.
amazing.
Man, great. And the thing is too about obviously, right, Eruption was on there. That's a big thing for guitar players and musicians in general. But for me, man, um it's the songs. I mean, and
Yeah,
some of the songs are so driven into me, like it's hard for me to remember how exciting it was to even hear the opening of Ain't Talking About Love. That
right.
little,
Or Jamie's crying.
or
Yeah.
I was in a band that covered Feel Your Love Tonight, and we'd finish that song, and at practice everybody would go right into Little Dreamer because we could all remember that wow down 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 that killer riff. And if you watch, we've been just blessed um with YouTube. Now they're starting to trickle out some. You'll get some very grainy 78 stuff, 79, that World
Right.
Invasion tour in 80. But you watch, I saw, and it's pretty crowd shot and grainy. And it's probably Van Halen opening for Sabbath, probably. And they come out with
Hmm.
On Fire. I'm on fire. And it's like, whoa. And all I could picture was like, Ozzy and Tony in the back cutting out rails and hearing that going, oh shit. Where
Gotta follow
this is
that.
and peak. I still love David Lee Roth for all his wacky David Lee Rothness. But back then, the what I call the Jim Dandy model of of David Lee Roth, amazing. It's even
No,
this um,
amazing front guy, amazing
Yeah.
performer.
amazing,
Held the
amazing.
held the audience in the palm of his hand.
Yep.
Not a problem.
And there was no point in David Lee Roth's career where he was uber concerned with things like the words or I almost said pitch, but you know what? If you think about back then, when he was never real pitchy, he just wasn't singing a lot, right? He had other
Right,
shit to do,
Yeah.
right? He had to make sure everybody was having a good time. He had to make sure he was,
right.
you know, and so, but when I listened to those albums, all those that era of Van Halen, that David Lee Roth era of Van Halen, I still think he was a great singer for that band. I don't know if,
Oh yeah.
I don't know that Steve Perry would have been the great Van Halen singer or,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
Michael McDonald. I just made that up. Although I'm going to AI an album, the first Van Halen album with Michael McDonald singing, just so I can hear that. Jamie's crying.
Oh, Jamie.
All right. Yeah, what a great record. All right, Scott, what you got?
I have
God,
American Slang by the Gaslight Anthem.
I'm a fan, dude. I'm a Gaslight Anthem fan. I'm a Springsteen fan, so I'm gonna like Gaslight Anthem. You hooked me up to them. I love it. I do. I like stuff like that. Where are they from, Scott? Are they
They're
New
from New
Jersey?
Jersey. Yeah.
See, I hear that working
It
man stuff
came, this
too.
album came right after the 59 sound.
Yeah, I love that band. Good guitar tones, good songs. I've
I
talked
mean,
to I've
I've
talked to
always
you about
said
it.
it's the Replacements meets Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, that's fair. That's accurate.
It's if you like those two things, you'll like the Gaslight Anthem.
Okay. I do. You hooked me on them for sure.
Great songs.
I might take some heat from you guys for this, and I'm cool. I'm willing to take it. It's an era that I love in music, but it's Billy Squire's "Don't Say No" record.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
No,
Some
he had a
people
great
hate,
band. He had a
dude,
great band.
that Jeff Galoob, the guitar player in that band,
Bobby
bitchin'.
Schwinnard.
Bobby Schnard's a he is a Stan Lynch drummer. I argue that on the internet all the time because that's where you can really make a difference in the world if you argue with people on the internet.
This
That's where change happens, you guys.
the swing of Billy Squire comes from
Oh,
Bobby. Yeah, yeah.
yes. And it remember we were just talking about that 78, 80, like George said, a lot of our 70s mammoth bands, but Zeppelin were, they weren't working a lot by 78. When's John Bonham pass? 80, 81?
81, something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
So
80.
Yeah.
Zeppelin's gone. Aerosmith are so fucked up they can't do anything, right? They've lost Joe Perry and Brad Whitford. Cheap Trick has lost Tom Peterson around that time. All these great American and great rock and roll bands, British bands are changing. Billy Squire comes in and, Lonely as the Night sounds like a
Oh,
Zeppelin tune. It's a
Yeah.
Zeppelin, it's got the big drums and great guitar tones. And Billy Squire, I mean, I guess the industry story is the video killed him, right? The dancing around video,
Oh,
yeah.
which I
I think
don't.
it was the pink tank
It was the
top.
it was, and when he peels, I mean,
Yeah.
and how do you fault the guy? Because I'm sure, and maybe Rhino Bucket, you guys probably had those moments too where you really were at a crossroads of decision making, where someone probably went, George, man, if you could get us is this love ballad
Get
from
us Don't Close Your Eyes or
yeah or
something.
whatever,
Right.
and you have to, I don't want to speak for you, but I imagine that demon visits you at night sometimes, or when you're sitting at the table going, okay, I've got to budget enough money for rent and this, and we're going to try to go on the road. There must be a moment when the ballad demon comes and goes, dude, if you can get the word love in this song about 40, 50 times, we're going to be okay.
We got close. We have begged for your love.
Oh
There you
yeah.
go. There you
But
go.
it's not a ballad.
Well, and again, there's nothing because some of my favorite songs, the anthems, the Dream Ons, and whatever. That's great, dude. And I love a decent power ballad. The problem was when it became the mold, right? And
Yeah,
then they went, okay, rocker, then hit your ballad, then we'll give you a third rocker, and then unless you've made, Hysteria or that 87 Whitesnake record or whatever, you're gonna have to go back and get us another album after we get those three
that
things out.
that is so accurate because I remember when we were in the chase by all the labels, and I thank our original drummer for this because we got like 11 demo deals offered by
Wow.
every major label in LA.
Wow. Wow.
Damn.
Wow.
And the response from the drummer was, "We're not here to make demos." So
Yeah.
that left two labels left, and one was Warner Brothers
Yeah.
and one was Geffen. So
Wow.
that's, you got a good choice there.
Yeah.
And kept on going back and forth because our friends Junkyard were on Geffen. They seemed to be doing pretty well.
Hmm.
Warner Brothers didn't really have a band like us. They had Bullet Boys, but it's not the same thing.
That's not the same band.
Great band, but still. And then the Geffen guy goes to me and goes, or goes to all of us. He goes like, "Okay, so we like your songs. We got to work on them. We're going to get some big time producer to come in here and polish them up.
Yeah.
Strike one.
Yeah. Right.
We got to work on your image. Strike two."
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then the one that like just ended the deal right on the spot. And my lawyer was pissed about it because he was friends with this guy. He goes like, "And then you guys need to come up with a ballad. And if you don't, we'll have someone write a ballad for you." And
Oh
we just
God.
smiled and said like, "Okay,
Yeah.
let us see what we can do." And we got back to, we were living in Hollywood, Greg and I, and our friend Demi. And we called the lawyer immediately and said, "Tell Warner Brothers that we're open for them and tell Geffen to go fuck themselves."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he was a good lawyer because he says, "I'm not telling Geffen to go fuck themselves
Right.
until Warner Brothers says, you know,
Yeah.
yes." And we
I'm
ended up
not.
on Warner's subsidiary, Reprise,
Oh yeah. Sure. Yeah. Cool.
Then
Frank Sinatra's.
you got a 2 album deal there, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And that's the thing too. It's not like I'm sure Rhino Bucket could have written a ballad, probably a kick-ass ballad, but it would have probably altered the band in some way that would have been for you guys would have been catastrophic. I mean, right? If
we
Holly Knight came in and wrote you a ballad, wrote Rhino Bucket a ballad, or Desmond Child, you'd go, "The fuck is this? What are we doing now?" You
We
know?
don't have hits, we have standards.
Yeah.
the best part about it, that's so very true with us. We are so self-destructive. We had a song on Wayne's World
Oh
Yep.
yeah. Yep.
called "Ride with Yourself," and it was on the
Yep.
soundtrack and it was on the movie, and it literally took our manager and a phone call from the label to tell us, "Guys, you got to put that in the set."
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Because we thought it was like, it's an okay song, but it's like, well, fuck that.
it's screwing
Just
up the groove of the live show,
right.
man. Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
everything gets all slow and shit.
You got to put that. Yeah, you got to put your Wayne's World song in your set. Yeah, you definitely got to do that. Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, who we are on? Who's up? You, Scott, or is
I
it
think
George?
so. I
Yes,
think
it's
so.
yes. We got in the
Wait, I
weeds of
think
Van
it's
Halen.
me.
Is it you?
Is it
Yeah,
George?
right.
Yeah, it is George.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hit it. What you got?
I decided to come a little bit more modern on this one because these guys are friends of mine, especially the singer. And when I first heard their first album, I was like, fuck yeah, the torch has been passed. I'm still running my own torch, but these guys picked it up and made it like lovely guys. It's Airborne,
Oh,
Oh
yes.
yeah,
the first album.
yeah,
And
Beautiful.
they've had great albums since then, but that first one, you were just like, I wasn't really hearing a lot of things that like kind of grabbed me.
mm-hmm.
But when I heard that one, and I remember Jason McMaster sent me
Oh,
a
Dangerous Toys, man.
Oh, love
yeah,
Yeah,
Jason.
I love it. I would mention Hellacious Acres all day long, but
Oh,
yeah,
God, yeah.
yeah,
so and you sent me a video of them performing live, and I went like, oh my God. But then I went and listened to the whole album, and I said like, these guys got it. They get it.
yeah.
And they're gonna be hard rock in its purest form is just gonna be fine.
Yep. Yeah.
Wow.
We're
Yeah.
we're all good. And
Yeah.
Beautiful.
and they're lovely guys.
Yeah, boy. You know what? It's funny that you mentioned Jason from Dangerous Toys too. There's another band that
Mm.
when they when they hit too, man.
Oh
I mean,
yeah,
that was good. So it was, and forgive me, and I mean no disrespect. It felt like a little second wavy of that movement, like it was coming in on the. I don't know
yeah,
when Dangerous Toys, the first Dangerous Toys record was released, but I'm guessing it was late, like 89, 90, maybe.
I think
Does
Yeah,
that
so.
feel about
probably.
right? Yeah. But man, they were, and then he had a band called Hellhounds.
And he
Oh,
had
Watch
Watchtower,
Yeah.
Watchtower,
Yeah. They're still
Broken
broke
playing.
Teeth,
Oh,
Broken
yeah.
Broken Teeth.
Teeth.
Yep.
Yep.
They're still playing. I think Dangerous Toys is still playing shows or
Oh
cruises
yeah,
or
we
yeah.
played this festival in Ohio. I think was it a month ago,
Oh yeah.
and the day was I guess it's 3 days. The day we played, we it was us, and then Enough's Enough, and then Bullet Boys,
Oh
and
yeah.
the following day it was I don't know the other bands, but it was Dangerous Toys, so we saw each
Yeah.
other.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Yeah,
Cool.
so and we all love each other as brothers, so it was really
Yeah.
cool.
Well, and that would have been, I'm sure that Bullet Boy show was probably they're out, I think, with the original lineup. I think they're all
Yeah, it
there.
is.
Yeah, good.
Mick, yep.
I always, I mean, Bullet Boys were one of those bands. Is certainly, I mean, Mark the singer. He's got some Freddie Mercury vibe. He's that
Yeah,
way. As far as his presentation. But first of all, Mick is a great guitar player, and that first album is pretty. It's a Ted Templeman thing.
Yeah,
It's
yep.
tracked pretty much like a Van Halen album, man, like a first
yeah,
Van Halen
It
record.
is, yeah.
Yeah, very cool with great songs. Great songs.
absolutely.
Yeah, really like them. Yeah, cool. All right, Scott, what you got?
Mine is it's kind of it's an NMD pick, not kind of an NMD pick.
Atomic Roost.
The band is called Atomic Rooster. It
That's
is
a great
a
name.
it is
Yes, it is.
a three-piece band from England. I think the record came out in 1971. If you like Uriah Heep,
Hmm.
Yeah.
early Deep Purple,
Hmm.
you will love this record.
Hmm. Cool.
It's called Death Walks Behind You. Heavy like Hammond B3 on this record.
Yeah.
Amazing drummer. Everybody in this band is extremely skilled. It's
Huh.
kick ass. They have another one. I think it's right before this or right after with just like a chicken on the cover, but or a rooster. But I only have this one as of right now. But yeah, kick ass band.
My final pick is I think I know I've mentioned it on the show before, and the only reason that I bring it up again today is I saw a clip um of one of the songs I really like on it being performed. It's it's Aerosmith's "Done with Mirrors,"
Oh man,
the comeback album,
yeah.
quote
Yeah.
unquote, which wasn't the comeback album. It was supposed to be, but they're still too fucked up to get it together. So they did "Done with Mirrors," and then the big comeback was I don't want to speak because I don't know the business, but somewhere in there, somebody went, dude, we're gonna make this permanent vacation. We're gonna bring in,
Oh
you know,
yeah.
we're gonna see some outside writers come in. We're gonna
Right.
get you some Desmond Child
You know,
actions,
the
Bruce
weird thing
Fairbairn.
about Aerosmith is like, I love them
I do too.
and I love the
Yeah.
albums even when they were,
I
having
always
fun.
I prefer I always have a tinge of guilt because
But
you want people to be successful and healthy and happy, and then I'm like, man, I really liked them when they were on drugs.
oh, I know, right? There was more of an edge.
There
But
was more
that
of an edge, yeah.
that what was it called? Night in the Ruts
Oh
Yep.
yeah, yeah,
with
yep,
Jimmy Crespo on
yeah,
guitar.
yep.
Yeah.
That was a damn good record.
It was a good. I I think Night in the Ruts might be the one that has the song that I always tell people who like I think they who like the Poison song, Talk Dirty to Me. There's a
Oh.
riff on No, I'm sorry. The Poison song is Look What the Cat Dragged In. It's the riff from Lightning Strikes.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
And then
And I feel like that might be on Night in the Ruts.
what
Um
was that song? When Lightning Strikes?
yeah, yeah.
That actually has Brad Whitford on rhythm guitar.
Is that Brad? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I
And
never
Jimmy's
knew.
playing leads.
So there was a weird time for music fans like me too, because there was, all I got was Cream magazine, Circus, and Hit Parader. There wasn't, MTV yet.
Right.
So it'd be like I'd see a Cheap Trick promo and go, "That's not that's not Tom Peterson. Who is that guy? They'd have a
Right.
guy in, and the same thing. Like I remember seeing Crespo, I think, playing a left-handed Strat, right-handed. You know how Perry did that?
Yeah.
I
Oh,
think Jimmy had one too. And then they had another guy, I thought, who took Brad's place.
Rick DeFay.
Yes.
oh
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
I can't remember what I had for lunch
I
yesterday,
know
but
you
like,
you just killed
but
those
it's
two. That was
like
perfect. Yeah.
wow.
But
Wow.
yeah, Done with Mirrors had the Joe Perry Project song, Let the
Yeah.
Music Do the Talking, which is one
Yep.
of my favorite songs of all time. But I just saw on probably social media, on Facebook or something, I saw Joe Perry and Chris Robinson, who's singing for the Joe Perry Project from the Black
Oh
Crowes.
yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They were doing My Fist Your Face off this album,
Oh, great
which is a
song.
great song. Reason a
Yeah.
Dog is on it. It's a snotty 1984, I think it came out. It's a rock record. It's snotty and cool, and it did nothing. It just did nothing. They weren't ready
Yeah.
because they really wanted to hit the way they wanted to hit. I think it became kind of a, I don't remember what the big hit off Permanent Vacation was, but there was like Ragdoll was on there and something
Yeah.
else. Yeah, but Done with
Wasn't
Mirrors,
there one with like an elevator?
I think
Love in an
Love in an
Elevator.
Elevator might have
Yeah.
been on there. Yeah.
It
Yeah,
might
That
have
was
been.
a lot of things like when a band self-destructs to drugs like that, like
right. Big time.
they overachieved in everything,
Yes. Yes.
including that. And so you can go in and you can make a good album or a great album, but you have to build that trust again with the promoters and the buyers throughout the country who probably lost
Oh,
millions and millions of
millions.
dollars when you just fucked everything up. It takes
Yeah.
time. And now they did, and they thrived.
Yeah.
And
A
good for
second
them.
time. Yeah. Well, not a lot of bands get the industry is not often going, hey man, let's give you a second chance, right? That
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
happen.
They don't even
And
like to give you a first chance.
Yeah.
exactly. Well, and that's the thing with Aerosmith is they rebuilt the thing because those tail end shows, and in the Midwest here, Aerosmith, we were close to home, so they were coming. We were getting them up here at our hockey rinks and theaters,
Yeah. I saw him with
and
Def Leppard.
there was, dude, an era of Aerosmith where people were just going to watch a car wreck.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
let's see what happened. Tyler, I mean, he was getting to the point where he was nodding out on stage. He and Perry were fist fighting. There's a great video on YouTube where they're fighting. I can see the argument unfold, and it's because Tyler calls out Toys in the Attic. He's like, or no, he calls out some other song. And Tom Hamilton says, you can hear him say, Steven, we did that already. And he's still calling it. He's still calling the song. Joe Perry looks at, back there at Joey and goes, toys, toys. You hear him screaming toys, and they start Toys in the Attic. Steven Tyler looks pissed because they didn't do the song he had called, and he doesn't realize that they've already played it. Like 2 songs ago, we played Back in the Saddle or whatever, dude.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
It was that era. So yeah, kudos to Aerosmith and Done with Mirrors, although not their comeback album in my world. That's
Right.
when I opened up Hit Parader and I was like, oh my God, they're all back. That felt really good to me. I had
Yeah.
my two
Yeah.
Guitar Hero guys on there, and yeah, great band. I think I've done one, two, three, four, five. That was my last one. I've done five.
Yep.
Everybody's done five.
I think we've done all five.
Yes,
Excellent.
sir.
Wow, man, that was great. George, I realize it's early for you. Thank you for that. Thank you for your time
Oh, of course. Thanks for having me.
and just being so open with, two fans of the band. And we just appreciate guys like us, appreciate that timeless rock and roll. And we appreciate the fact that you're out still giving it to us. So thank you for that. I mean that.
Oh, no, I
That's
appreciate that too.
huge,
I mean, the
huge
thing
for
is,
us.
I don't know what else to do.
Exactly.
I can't afford a McDonald's franchise, so
Yeah, right, right. So it's the Rhino Bucket
so
franchise,
there
and
I
we're
am
we're grateful for that too. Thank you
playing
so
one
much.
night stand for the 20th time.
So let me ask you this, and this is just kind of a side thing for a band like Rhino Bucket, and just for insight for us, if you're comfortable sharing, are you flying to things and doing long weekend stuff? Is that what you do now, or are you
We're
going
trying.
out
The
extended
thing is,
time?
we kind we I kind of made a logistical mistake with the band when I took it to Europe for 10 years or longer. we were doing extensive touring in Europe,
Okay.
and we kind of ignored the American market. So
Hmm.
we get some fly-ins here and there. We play locally here and there, but as the person who's helping me with this, everyone wants to talk about it, but nobody wants to pull the trigger about getting us on an American tour
Right.
or more gigs. So we may end up having to go back to Europe, but we still do the Monsters of Rock cruise, which is,
Yeah. Which those things are huge now.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
they're
Huge.
great.
Yeah.
Leigh Moran and his crew are fantastic people, and we play the whiskey, and so we're rebuilding in America. But in the meantime, I do have to try to generate money for the band,
Sure.
and we may end up. And I love Europe. I'm
Yeah.
European.
Yeah. And they are a little, and maybe I'm wrong, but the European market seems a little less fickle than the American market. Like they'll
Yeah.
they'll hang in there, you
Oh
know?
yeah, and also the thing about the European, especially in hard rock, and sometimes you play really small places, sometimes medium
Yeah.
places, sometimes really nice places. But unlike here, for a band like us, it's really hard to justify doing a gig on a Monday or Tuesday,
Sure.
maybe
Yep.
even
Yeah.
a Wednesday.
Yep.
But in Europe, you can play 7 days a week for 5 weeks straight, and
Yeah.
they'll show up because
Yep.
it's they just have this mentality. I don't know if it's because they're always afraid that this is the last time you're going to show up.
Right.
It's like, so it could be that. I don't know. But yeah, so we'll see. But I like playing in America
And you have a
a
fan
lot.
base here. I mean, you do.
Yeah,
You
and
have
we
an
have them
American
there
fan
too.
base that
Yeah, and I like to play with a 7-Eleven within 5 miles.
that's a good call. That's
You
when
know,
you're planning.
right, exactly. Now they got 7-Elevens in Europe and they're just completely blowing that theory for me.
Yeah, right. Well, we appreciate you coming. Again, I assume we can find Rhino Bucket and all the social media spots. We'll get tour dates there, things like that.
Yeah, and
New
also you can go
recordings.
to rhinobucket.rocks. It's got all the
Cool.
dates and
Yeah, we'll put a
all that.
link to it in the show notes.
Yeah, we'll make sure.
Yeah.
George, thank you so much for your
Thanks for
time today,
having me,
brother.
guys. It was
Really
great.
Thank you,
appreciate it.
George.
Means a
Yeah.
lot to us again as fans,
Absolutely.
and I know the listeners of this show are just going to be over the moon about this. So thank you
There's
for that.
there's a
Yeah,
lot of people excited about
yeah.
this one.
Amen.
It was great. Scott,
Uh,
John, I thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
my
And
friend.
George.
but
Hey,
now I can't decide if I'm going back to bed or if I'm cracking a beer.
hey,
It's
hey.
Sunday,
I'm just gonna tell you, you're in Rhino Bucket. You'll make the right choice.
so beer it is.
Yes, it is. Scott, you got any parting words for us, buddy?
Remember the days when I had a conscience? Yeah, me neither.
All right, everybody. Take care. Thanks again, George.
Thanks,
Thank you.
George.